Greetings fellow tank commanders. In this video I'm going to be showing you a game that I played in the T-54. This is a tier 9 Soviet tech tree medium tank which leads to the Object 140 and the T-62A. The game I'm playing is a standard battle on Westfield with tier 9 as the top tier and no artillery. For this game I am platooned up with Tovar 520 who is in an E75, Puma Rage 4 who is in an STI, E3 Ensign 420 who is in an E50, and Cowboy Arizona who is in a Lycan T71. Our initial plan is to take the corner at K0 and crush the enemy flank along the 0 line, so we are heading to the corner with all haste. For some extra reliability against this T10 heavy tank, I have switched over to my premium ammunition. I am able to get a few easy damage hits here because my speed allowed me to get early positioning in this area. Meanwhile, the T10 is forced to take snapshots, which aren't overly effective with a large 122mm cannon. I made sure not to take any unnecessary risks here since it's early in the game and I want to hold on to as many hit points as possible. But now that my E50 platoon mate has arrived, we can easily tag team the T10. The T-54 works great in snapshot situations like this, but my vertical stabilizer and experienced Soviet crew also help with this. And the annoying peekaboo strategy of 2 medium tanks is too much for the T-10, and we are able to take down a tier 9 heavy tank without taking any damage ourselves. I was in a little bit of disbelief bouncing off that Tiger 1's gun, but fortunately my platoon mate Cowboy Arizona, who has taken up a position in the middle of the map, is able to finish him off with ease. He is in a great position to support us on this side of the map. He is able to get side shots on overexposed enemies, and it spots out the snipers in the back on this side, which would have been even more useful had the enemy sent a few more tanks over here. I took a big hit from the Yag Tiger there, but the awesome penetration on my heat shells allow me to return the favor, and the additional support fire from my teammates really hurts them. The enemy have sent the majority of their tanks over to the other side of the map, and so it's very important that we crush this flank so that there aren't any spotters on this side of the map, which will help us in a prolonged engagement. Now, I didn't really need to be on premium ammunition for this stage of the game, but I was a little more focused on my actual gameplay than the ammunition type I was using, and really there's no harm in having a little bit of extra penetration if you can afford it. This Yag Tiger has proven to be a bit of a nuisance, but we're able to finish him off. Now, since my platoon has all of the high tier tanks this game, we broke up into groups with a medium tank supporting one of the heavy tanks. That way we can remain in control of as much of the map as possible. We could have potentially just all gathered on the enemy base and went for a base capture, but the potential of the enemy being able to swarm down on us in a large number would have taken away our advantage. I'm going over to overwatch our E75. This is a really good situation for us here, because the E75 is in a good position to spot and hold the enemies in place, and that allows me to use my fast shooting and reliable gun to get great shots on the enemy. I finally switched back to my AP rounds, since the majority of the enemies that are left are lightly armored and pretty easy to deal with, so the premium ammunition for the time being would be quite unnecessary. Now, the greatest threat to the E75 at the moment is being swarmed, so right now I'm just looking to take out as many tanks as possible. The SU-122-44 was a high priority for me, because he's really lightly armored for a tier 9 to deal with, and his high damage per minute can be quite a threat. Tovar managed to deal with a flanking light tank on his own, and that only leaves a charging IS-3 for him to deal with. Because I was focused on overwatching the E75, our Lycan T71 was destroyed. I was a little indecisive with my shots here, because I wanted to provide some covery fire for our medium tank over in the village, but I should have kept focusing on the IS-3 because it allowed him to get an easy shot in on our E75. I'm able to take full advantage of the target-rich environment here. The enemy is being quite generous, giving me some easy shots, but the game is still pretty close, and although we are close to capturing the base, the enemy is putting up a pretty good defense. I'm unable to save our motherland from the Centurion 7-1, but I still have my platoon mate E-75 off to the left and a fatherland teammate off to the right, spotting out for me. And just as one target disappears, more are appearing. My team was very close to capturing the base here, and since the game is still so close, it wouldn't have been a bad way to finish it off, but they managed to reset the base capture points, and it gives me even more opportunities to use my reliable gun. You were able to see how effective the T-54's gun is at close range, but now you also get to see how effective it is at long range. I'm able to hit pretty much all of my shots here, and I've been dealing some reliable damage as well, and the only target that really ends up giving me any trouble from this distance is the E-75, and I end up switching back to my premium ammunition, but really every tank has a little bit of trouble dealing with the E-75 in different scenarios. If I was on the other side of the valley, I'd be able to get easy shots in on his lower plate, or just get around his side. So I have no shame in the shots that I bounced right at the end there. Wow, that was an intense game and it only took 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Now let's check the post-game stats and see how I did. For this game, I only earned 3,800 silver, but that's because I used a large supply of my premium ammunition throughout the game, and a lot of times unnecessarily. And I also earned 2,570 experience without any multipliers. In this game, I dealt 5,835 damage, assisted with 1,030 damage, and destroyed 4 enemies while blocking 240 damage. This earned me a Mastery Badge First Class, and crucial contribution for my platoon destroying 12 enemy vehicles throughout the game. I placed at the top of my team, earning a base XP of 1,713. My platoon mates also did extremely well this game. We were all at the top of the team, along with a fatherland who also got a healthy amount of damage. As a platoon, we did 13,000 damage this game, and destroyed 12 enemies. There is, of course, a lot more potential for every single one of our tanks, but I am very pleased that we were all able to perform so well in a short game where there weren't very many high-tier tanks to give us an abundance of damage to share. I managed to hit 25 of my 36 shots and penetrate 20 of those. I'm quite happy with those stats considering a lot of my shots were taken either on the move or from a sniping position. The crew and module damage which I dealt this game was quite disappointing. I damaged the ammo rack and fuel tank in the T-10, and destroyed the turret in the Type 59. Well, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the potential that the T-54 has, especially when you're in a platoon, and you can use your tank's great flexibility to provide support for your teammates in a variety of situations. Stay tuned for more awesome World of Tanks videos.